only time Lily can practice in Nebraska is during the summer months here at Woods Park. This 10-meter platform is one of only 2 in the entire state. On the floor, it's hard to tell the Baldwin twins apart, but one way you can tell is by what hand they dribble with. Brittany dribbles with her left. No, wait, this is Brooke. She dribbles with her right, and Brittany over here, she dribbles with her left. See, it's hard for me to even tell. It was a sight to see here at Soldier Field as Aaron Rodgers ran off the field and into the tunnel. There he was greeted by general manager Ted Thompson, and the two embraced in a lengthy hug. Even though Crick might be a long shot to win this year's U.S. Open, he still hopes to represent his home state of Nebraska well at the event. Man, nice shot. It was the first win for Nebraska here at home in the NCAA tournament since 2007. Coincidentally, they won by the same margin, 4-0, when they beat Iowa. Up next for the Big Red, they take on the Stanford Cardinal, who knocked Nebraska out of the NCAA tournament back in 2011. The Huskers look for some revenge tomorrow here at Polzin Stadium at 1 p.m. Reporting live in Lincoln at Polzin Stadium, Dave Polzin, 1011 Sports. On the football field, 11-year-old Nathaniel Powell is pretty good at making tackles.
My favorite part about playing football is you get to run plays and you get to score and people get to cheer for you while you're making a play.
But on June 30th of this year, Nathaniel was forced to tackle something other than quarterbacks.
We were in the living room at my grandparents' house, and my mom found, and my Aunt Nikki, they saw a lump in my throat, like kind of right here. So my mom took me into the emergency room, and everything kind of started from there.
Over the next month, Nathaniel underwent multiple tests before having a biopsy on July 30th.
I was scared. I felt confident that it wasn't going to be anything. The possibilities were so low. I mean, I think it was in the single digits of percent that it was cancer.
On the following day, which was also his 11th birthday, Nathaniel was diagnosed with stage 3 thyroid cancer.
It was one of the 2 times I cried through the whole process, so that was the hardest hit.
Did you ever at all think, why me at 11 years old?
Yes, I did.
Nathaniel spent most of the month of August in a hospital room. While their kids were going to the pool and playing ball, Nathaniel was undergoing intense radiation treatments and 2 successful surgeries to remove the tumor in both his left and right thyroid.
People every year can die from cancer, and that was just so worried to me, and the fact that I wouldn't be able to play football, and it kind of took away my summer.
He was most saddened not being able to play football. At 11 years old, that was his biggest concern. When he felt assured he wasn't going to die from cancer, football became his biggest worry. After beating cancer, Nathaniel had only one wish: to see his dad coach his team. I asked him, and his immediate answer was if he could play the last play of the last game, that he wanted me on the sideline. And I told him I would do that.
He's coached me since 3rd grade. We play football all the time, even when there's not practice or games. So I told him that I wanted him to be there even if I wasn't playing.
On September 28th, roughly 3 months from his initial trip to the ER, Nathaniel suited up for his Boys and Girls Club football team.
It was crazy because I didn't know that I would be able to play football so soon. I love being on the field and playing football.
I knew what he wanted, and to see him get that sooner than expected, that's as big of a smile as you're going to get from him.
With a clean bill of health, Nathaniel is ready to tackle any challenge life throws his way. Reporting in La Crosse, Dave Polzin, News 19.
Now, News 19 Sports with La Crosse's own Dave Polzin.
The Brewers won't be playing with a full deck for a while as Ryan Braun was placed on the 15-day DL today, but at 21-9, the Brewers have been the kings of Major League Baseball through the first month of the season, but tonight in the Queen City, the Cincinnati Reds will play their ace card, Johnny Cueto, who owns the league's best ERA. If the Packers wanted any piece of that pie known as the NFC North title, Green Bay would need a strong performance against the Lions in Detroit on Thanksgiving. Even though the UWL baseball team saw their dream of a WEAC regular season title and their 11-game win streak go by the wayside yesterday, there's still plenty to play for on the league's final day. Lacrosse has a 1-game lead on Stevens Point in the standings and has to sweep Oshkosh on Sunday to ensure the second seed in next week's conference tournament. Game 3 between the Eagles and Titans from Copeland Park. Shane Adler was dominant on the mound today for the Eagles. Here he gets Zach Peterson swinging to end the 7th. The Eagles clinging to a 1-run lead. Then in the 8th, Adler strikes out Trey Demler to end the inning in the 8th. Adler dealing. He's got his 11th strikeout of the game. Eagles still up 1. In the 9th, tying run at third for Neil Hebert, but Adler induces the grounder to first. He goes a complete game 4-hitter, allows just 1 run and walked only 1 as the Eagles take game 1 2-1.
I haven't been in that zone all year yet, and finally today I felt really good. My bullpen, and then I went out there in the first couple innings. They were just hitting balls right at guys, and guys were making the plays, and I was cruising there for a little bit, and I had to buckle down and make some pitches, and guys behind me made some great plays.
In the back end of the doubleheader, the Eagles get a 13-5 win to take the series 3-1. Taylor Coway and Bryce Barnes each drove in 3 runs as the Eagles lock up second place in the WEAC. Viterbo is headed to the MCC title game after knocking off AIB College 8-2. The V-Hawks get a day off before Tuesday's championship series. Brewers haven't lost a series on the road all year, trying to keep that streak alive against the Reds. 2-1 in the 4th when Chris Davis drives one to right center, and that one's not coming back. A solo shot for Davis, his 4th of the year, and the Brewers are up 3-1. In the 8th, Brandon Kinsler replaces Kyle Loesch, and I bet he wishes he could replace that pitch to Brandon Phillips. Solo shot for the Reds' second baseman ties the game up at 3 apiece. This one heads to extras, and in the 10th, Tyler Thornburg gives up a double to Todd Frazier. Chris Heisey's going to try to score. He's legging it in, and he's going to be safe. A walk-off winner for the Reds. The Brewers lose 4-3. First series loss on the road all year for the Crew.
This would have been an important game to win. You lose this one, and now it's a bad road trip. You win it, and it turns into a good road trip. You wouldn't think one game would do that, but it does.
In the AL, Twins looking to take a series from the Orioles. Runners at first and second for Trevor Pluth, and he rips one down the line. Both runners are going to come in to score. It's RBI 21 and 22 for Pluth, and Minnesota's up 2-0. Phil Hughes pretty good on the mound for the Twins. He sits down Adam Jones here. 6 1/1 for Hughes. He strikes out 3, and Minnesota wins 5-2 to take the series from Baltimore. Over to the ice, game 2 of the Western Conference semis. Wild looking to even the series with Chicago. Down 2 in the 3rd. Clay Stoner is going to drop one to Cody McCormick, and he beats Corey Crawford. The Wild trim the champs lead to 1. Later in the period, Wild looking to knot it up. Zach Parise looks like he's going to score, but Crawford bats the puck out of the air before it gets to the net. What a save, and Wild just can't catch a break in the series. Chicago wins 4-1. Minnesota now finds themselves down 2-0.
I know that we can play better, but we weren't that far off. That game was hanging there for us. You know, it's a 1-0 game, and we got a couple empty nets, and we can't find a way to put it in. One of these games, we got to find a way to grab the lead and play with it.
The Wild will look to get things back on track in Game 3 on Tuesday.
Dave, what a great win for Nebraska.
Kevin, how about the job by the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year, Tatum Edwards, throwing a complete game in the circle for NU. She gives up only 2 hits while striking out 11. More importantly, she moves her career record here at Bowling Stadium to 19-1. This one might be the biggest, though, as she helps Nebraska beat Northern Iowa 4-0 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think the Husker faithful are just excited to see these young defensive playmakers. We've been hearing about them since that 2012 recruiting class came in. Now it's their time to step onto the field. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. Last year, the defense, not a traditional black shirt defense. Hopefully this year in 2013 they can get more up to that level.
And of course we got Dave over here. Looks like he can't even wait to get home to start enjoying some
well,
of these
it's Thanksgiving, so I thought I'd pass out some treats for you guys. I saw you guys eyeing up my pumpkin pie during sports, so I had to cut it up and get it all for you guys already. You know, maybe a lot of the great atmosphere was due to the fact that there was a lot of great games and a lot of great performances. I mean, you look at Lincoln East, they knocked off Creighton Prep, the only team to do that in the state tournament. Prep won, you know, the whole thing, and then you look back to Daniel Adu throwing that no-hitter, you know, to help Lincoln Pius. Just a lot of great performances in that state baseball tournament. As it's not only the final time the Huskers will take the floor at the Coliseum, but it's also the same spot where they were knocked out of the tournament last year against Kansas State in the second round. The Huskers hope to avoid that fate tonight and close out the Coliseum in style. First serve is at 7 o'clock. Following the Huskers in the NCAA volleyball tournament, Dave Polzin, 10-11 Sports.